All right, start the Bolt City podcast with Dave Pally, Josh Pally, and Mario Heron. It's just Mario right now. Dave and Josh have a little family dinner to go to right now. So I am joined by the great and wonderful Beau Morgan, host of the Odyssey Original Podcast, Peachtree Football, covering the Atlanta Falcons. Beau, I gotta ask, did you see this coming at all from the Atlanta Falcons sitting at top of their division right now over Tom Brady?
At the top of the division, no, I'm not gonna lie. We talked about this early in some of the radio shows I do in the city, and then on Peachtree Football about how this was a team that could win some games. This was a team that could win. I think I said somewhere between 7 and 9 games. You obviously didn't expect Tom Brady to go through the struggles that he's gone through and that they've gone through in Tampa, and we should have another win because they cheated us in that game. We won't go into that. The referees, and I hate being that guy with the referee. It's just a terrible call. But no, I didn't expect to be 4-4 after 8 games with the distinction of being the number one team in the NFC South. Absolutely not. The hope this year was, hey, let's win some games. Let's build this core of young players. And really, if you go through the roster, there's so many young players on this team and some guys that are playing and performing up to what we need. But that's where we sit, and it's kind of a cool place to sit. It's fun. I sit back and hear people complaining about certain things, and I just think, dude, we're 4-4. We're the first place in the NFC South with a chance to really build on it with a schedule that not necessarily this week, but does have some favorable games in the future. So it's kind of a cool place to be, and it's exciting. And that's the one thing I can say that a lot of the fan base is kind of latched onto is the excitement of a brand new team. And as a guy that was a supporter of Matt Ryan, I got to know him and covered him during the entirety of his career here in Atlanta. It's a different feeling, and it's not a knock on Matt because I love Matt, but it's just it's just a new excitement. Like where you get something new, and while you really loved your old car or whatever, this new car that you have is really fun, and this team is completely different because Matt's not here. I know that sounds weird, but that's kind of the feeling on this team. So everything feels different, even from the offense to leadership. So that part is kind of fun.
Yeah, especially like Matt Ryan's, he was there for so long and he had so much success. Like this year was like I feel like a new ground for you guys. What has been kind of the biggest change from Arthur Smith's first year to this year that has really got this team to where they are right now?
Well, it's really been a changing of the guard, but to me, if you go back and you look, there's two things about this team that are completely different than last year. One of them is definitely, and this is the lesser of two, is the defense. The defense is better at some things. They've gotten some guys that can kind of get after the passer. They got new pass rushers coming in. They signed Lorenzo Carter, who's had an impact in some ways. Guy's got 2 touchdowns, so he's clearly had an impact. But Arnold Ebiketie, who is a rookie, who they brought in from Penn State, second-round pick, he's really been effective, even though he only has 1 sack. I think at one point, I know going into last week, he led rookies in pressures as pressures with pass rushers, which has been really kind of something we didn't overly expect, especially with some of the other pass rushers that were in the draft and that went early. But the offense is what I really want to touch on with you. This running game has really taken over. This team is 5th in rushing in the NFL. I mean, this is a team that struggled to run the ball for so many years and struggled to get that 1 or 2 yards when Matt was here. Now this is a physical team, and I trust us more rushing the ball than anything else, and it's not been that way for a majority, not the entirety, but for a majority of the time that Matt was here. We couldn't get that yard. I go back to games against the Giants in 2011 in the playoffs. I think we lost 24 or 26-2 or something. We had multiple 4th downs where we couldn't get a yard or half a yard. And it just kind of plagued this team throughout the last 14, 15 years. Now we can get that yard. I mean, in fact, we can get about 160 of them a game, which is really crazy. So that, and it's kind of a three-headed monster, Mario. It's not just, Cordero Patterson was the guy, right? And everybody, and
Hmm.
I talked to Cordero after the Seattle game. I don't want to say off the record, but it was a moment. It was just, there was no microphones, and I said, "Dude, we're going to get you 1,000 yards." Of course, he goes on the IR the next week, and then we really get the full effect of Tyler Algier. Caleb Huntley comes out of nowhere, takes the Cleveland game over. I mean, absolutely takes it over in the second half. And now he's a guy. And now we're going to get, looks like Cordero Patterson will play this week. So really, this identity of the offense went from a pass-happy, throw-first team to now it is a run-first, run-second, pass if we've got to offense or when we need to. And it's just a complete change. So a long answer is the physicality on offense, and we're becoming a physical team on defense in our own way. Last week was probably not a good example because it was worrisome how Carolina ran the ball on us, especially with Deontay Foreman kind of taking over after they trade away Christian McCaffrey. But the physicality up front in the run game and how this has become a run-first team is really a huge difference, even from year one of Arthur Smith to year two.
Yeah, and I think the Carolina Panthers game too, that's a case of like it's a divisional game, right? Crazy stuff happens in divisional games. You know what I'm saying? Like, watch out for the Detroit Lions to go up 20-0 on the Packers and then they lose the game. But like it's just one of those crazy things happen. Um, with the run game being so powerful, like you said, fifth best in the league, and that's honestly when I was looking at this game, scared the living crap out of me. Because Chargers, we can't even stop my local high school team to get 5 yards. Like it's just not a good thing for them. But with that, you guys don't throw the ball a lot, and there was the fantasy guys come at you now because Kyle Pitts isn't getting the looks he's supposed to get. Is that even a worry for you guys at all? Like with such success you have on the ground to even get a guy like Kyle Pitts involved?
Yeah, I think it is in some ways because all that said, he's still the best weapon on this team as far as in the passing game. I mean, you're going to see Cordero Patterson step up, I believe. And I don't want to get off the question, but I am going to go away for a second. Cordero Patterson's return is going to open things up for everybody because here's the thing. Before he went down, he was the only option really at running back because Damian Williams got hurt literally the first or second play of the season with a rib injury. So they didn't have a lot of trust in Algier at first. They were still kind of break him in. So now that Algier and Huntley have shown what they can do and they can carry this offense from a run game, it's not going to be all Cordero there. So they can move him other places. For me, I think that's going to help a guy like Kyle Pitts get more involved because he's not now you got Kyle and Drake right now. And then, or I'd say 2 weeks ago. And now, and you had Olamide Zaccheaus and Kadero Hodge to a lesser extent. But then Damiere Byrd started to kind of emerge here in the last couple weeks. So now you've got Kyle and Drake, Damiere Byrd, Olamide Zaccheaus, and now you throw Cordero Patterson in there, and he can do everything, especially catching the ball in the backfield. So I think it's going to open it up. I do think there's been a lot of misinformation that they're not even running plays for Kyle Pitts. That's not true. I mean, they're not running plays for Kyle Pitts, but defenses have been able to put extra attention there.
Mm-hmm.
We've seen in his years as the OC in Tennessee that Arthur Smith wants to run the ball first. Really easy when you have Derrick Henry, right? But they're finding the two-headed version of Derrick Henry with Algier and Huntley, and now you add in Cordero Patterson who can do that and catch the ball. So that's going to open things up, I think, for Kyle Pitts. And I think you look at last week, he had 5 for 80 and a touchdown. 2 home games in a row, he's had touchdowns. We could see Kyle Pitts get even more involved because I think we're seeing a progression of Marcus Mariota get comfortable. Teams know that we're going to run the ball. This team isn't great in pass protection. It's just not. There's been a lot of two-man routes, a lot of max protect, and Marcus is kind of now getting the flow of the game, getting comfortable, getting to know Kyle in game situations. So I think it's kind of a lot of things coming together to maybe help with his reemergence, I guess, in this offense for Kyle Pitts. So no, it hasn't been a huge worry for me because you're a 500 team, you're winning. I want to see
Mhm.
more. Fan base is worried, but you have to get him involved moving forward if you want to continue to win games, win the division, and maybe do anything else, or at least, God, I think a wild card is way out of the picture, but you got to look. You have to, if you want to do more and do more damage, he has to emerge. So while it's not we're not terrified about it, it is a big deal, and it is big to get him more involved.
Yeah, I wouldn't say like the wild card's out of the picture for you guys at all. Like I'd say you guys are very much alive in that. And if anything, I mean, I'm a big gambler guy. I've all week I've been eyeing to throw a future bet on the Falcons for to win the division. I need one more week of Tom Brady to suck, and I think I'm going to go all in on it. Um, I am. I'm 1 week away, but Cordell Patterson's such a special player. I have him on my fantasy team, so I'm excited as well for him to come back. So the Falcons do host the Los Angeles Chargers. The Chargers are like the walking wounded. It feels like right now, so many guys out. But when it comes to this matchup, what do you think the Falcons really need to do to come out with the W at home against LA?
Well, first and foremost, you need to run the ball against the stacked box, which we've seen all year now, and they need to continue to do that. It was a struggle against Carolina last week at times, and I think that's why you saw Marcus throw more. I believe he had a season high and not maybe pass attempts and yards. I know for sure touchdowns, but you're going to have to run the ball. I was really worried about you guys up front, your front
Mm-hmm.
seven, because you've got look. I know you're missing Joey, but Khalil Mack is still a big presence. So
Oh
you
yeah.
got to win the line of scrimmage from that part offensively because, again, I talked about it. They're not a great pass blocking team up front. So let's run the ball and let's neutralize that pass rush. Win on first down there because the worst thing in the world is if this team is in a lot of third and longs and Khalil Mack is able to pin his ears back and just come at us. He's a guy that scares me. You guys got a pretty good linebacking crew too with Kenneth Murray, Van Noy. Khalil is listed, but we all know he's really an edge. He's an edge
Yeah.
player. I hate when people get caught up in the 3-4. Look, those edge players are just a little bit different breed of a pass rusher, but they're still those guys. But on the other side of the ball, Justin Herbert worries me. He's a guy that I was not big on coming out
Mm-hmm.
of Oregon. I thought he was honestly, I thought he was another Marcus Mariota.
No, I'm completely with you. I was with you. Yeah.
And he's proven to be anything but, and it's kind of cool, and obviously Marcus is our guy now, and we support him, and he's starting to find his way. But one of the things I was looking at is he's injured, but people aren't getting to him. Why aren't people getting to him? And then you look at some stuff and his release, he's quick to get the ball out. But Keenan Allen maybe he's going to miss. I think Mike Williams is already out, right? So
yeah.
Our secondary's banged up, so I'm not overly worried. But then you got guys like Austin Eckler, who I know showed up on you guys' injury report recently.
Mm-hmm.
But he's more of a pass threat than he is a run threat. And that's pretty crazy, the fact that he's almost as big, if not bigger, in the passing game than he is in the running game. So he's an emphasis to me. But I'm worried. So make sure that, to me, I'm big about the line of scrimmage. I'm a Falcons fan. You know why I'm big about the line of scrimmage? Because we've been terrible at it on both sides of the ball for the last 15 years, and we're starting to get some semblance of being good at it. But I don't need you guys in third and shorts on the other side. Defensively, we got to get you in third and long and make Justin Herbert find somebody that's not named Mike Williams, Keenan Allen, or Austin Eckler. I think he can do it. But to me, that's a big emphasis. I want to take pressure off those guys in the secondary, where it's not just easy pick and boom, pick, boom, boom, boom. I don't want Herbert just back there picking us apart, which he can do with our banged up secondary, because I think A.J. Terrell misses this game.
Mhm.
He hasn't practiced all week yet. To me, the biggest day is Friday. But I would say with a short week next week, as much as this game matters, the division games matter that much more. And you have a short week on a Thursday night coming up next week against Carolina in Carolina. To me, that is a big game for us to have. And so that's why I think he might miss. But if we can get to Herbert just a little bit, make him uncomfortable with that. I know that rib
Yeah.
injury is still probably bothering him a little bit, which has led to him getting the ball out quick. But he's gotten pressured. So get home a couple of times early and just kind of see where it goes. But the biggest thing is on offense, score points and keep Khalil Mack neutralized by not allowing him just to come at you every time. So and by the way, we saw two of the best in the business last week is the emergence of Derek Brown in the defensive tackle position, and then Brian Burns. But neither one of them are Khalil Mack, and he's still, to me, one of the scariest players as far as edge rushers go in the NFL.
Oh, he's an absolute beast. And I think Eckler and Cordell Patterson are like a little bit similar in the fact that like Cordell comes in as a receiver, but huge part of the run game. Eckler is a running back, but massive part of the pass game. I think he's led us or top 2 in receiving the past 2 weeks. So heading this game, give me your prediction. I'm going to give you mine because I think you're going to be a little rattled about mine. I'm thinking you're going to see mine coming for what I had predicted for Sunday. So first, you give me your predictions and I'll tell you mine.
Well, I've been on our podcast on Peachtree Football. I've been pretty consistent that I'm never just going to homer up with the Falcons because as much as I want to, as much as but I'm around the team, I still think there's some integrity to being real. But this reminds me a lot of the game we played a few weeks ago in San Francisco. They're the better team on paper, but they're injured too. And this reminds me of that. So I think with the way your defense surprised me, by the way. I looked at the numbers. I saw the defense put together in the offseason, and I was like, oh, geez, we got to play them. And now it doesn't scare you once I've looked at these numbers, especially with Joey Bosa out. So giving up 27 a game, I think the Falcons can get it done. But I think this game is going to be a little bit more high scoring. It just feels like all of our games have kind of done that. So I'm thinking more of somewhere around 31-27. And I actually like my Falcons. And I know that it's easy because I'm the Falcons podcast guy.
Yeah.
Blah, blah. You're just missing too many weapons on offense. If Mike Williams and or Keenan Allen were playing, I might rethink this. But with both those guys possibly being out, and then you turn around and there's no Bosa, and you're banged up. Maybe Eckler now. We don't know what he's going to be. I just don't know if you have enough firepower. Not that we do, but I just think the confidence this team's playing. And by the way, Falcons have been brutal at Mercedes-Benz Stadium. There's a 3-game winning streak right now with a chance to make it 4. The momentum being at home. It's a West Coast trip. Even though you guys had a week off, which really I think is good for y'all. I don't know. I got to go with my Falcons, and I don't want to be a homer. Please, if you're listening to this, I swear I'm not a homer. I literally picked the Falcons. I think to lose. No, I picked them to win, but I looked at them to lose against San Francisco, and they won. So I don't want to make twice.
No, I am with you. If looking at this game, like my first thought was if Allen or Williams play in this game, I feel a lot more comfortable. But Williams is out. Allen's looking more like he's not going to play. And you said this all along. Your guys' ability to run the ball scares the living crap out of me because it's the biggest weakness in the Chargers. We saw Kenneth Walker and the Seahawks do that all over them before the bye week, and they've just not been able to do anything. Like you said, the defense on paper this offseason was I thought they're going to be a top 3 defense. J.C. Jackson, Bosa, Derwin James, Tranquil, Joseph Day, Mack. Like, it's so talented. And then now it's just slowly falling apart with injuries and just not a lot of come together. I have 28-27 Falcons.
Wow.
Yeah, I have 28-27 Falcons. I think we're on our 3rd kicker because another kicker got hurt today. So I guess that's just the injury luck we have here at Los Angeles. So I have 28-27 Falcons. But I think it's going to be a hell of a game. I'm super excited. And thank you so much, Beau, for coming on the show. And I got to ask, before you go, Where'd you just come up with Peachtree?
Well, it was a lot of. I think you set one of these up. I don't want to give too much away,
Mm-hmm.
but we struggled with names because, you know, Falcons is just a name that's kind of centric. Like the Chargers, you got the lightning bolt.
Yeah, yeah.
Everybody does a bird cast or that kind of stuff. There's already so many out there, so we had to stay away from the actual Falcons name. And so Peachtree is obviously it's the Peach State in Georgia, and Peachtree is a prominent street in Atlanta. So
Okay.
basically, Peachtree Road, and then it turns into Peachtree Street. So if you start, Buckhead is a famous part of Atlanta. It's the north part of the actual city, and then you go from Buckhead to Midtown in Atlanta to downtown. Peachtree Road starts in Buckhead, and when it gets into Midtown, it turns into Peachtree Street, and it goes
Okay.
all the way through into downtown. So it's just Peach State, Peachtree Road / street is a big main road in Atlanta. And actually, our studios where we 92.9 where do weekly shows or daily shows, and then where we broadcast some of the Atlanta Falcons Radio Network is off of Peachtree Street. So it just kind of tied in.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah, no, I was wondering because every time I come on, for people that don't know, we use StreamYard for this. It always takes me to Peachtree first. Like it's every single time. And I was like Peachtree, and I was like thinking in my head, and I literally looked up Peachtree, so like I bet it's something like that, and got the Georgia and everything. I was like, all right, now here we go. But yeah, thank you so much for coming on. Make sure to follow Peachtree Football on Odyssey app or subscribe wherever you get your podcast. That's Beau Morgan. Thank you so much for coming on. And hey, go Chargers, but I do love to be right. So if they do lose and then they're near my score prediction, I'm fine with it.
That sounds really familiar, by the way. It's a lot the way I am. I like my team to win, but I also like being right. So if I can get one of the two, it's still a good day. If I get both, it's a great day, right? But thanks for having me.
Yeah.
Really enjoyed it.
Absolutely. That's how I do my gambling. All right, thank you guys so much for listening. We're now going to toss it back to Dave Pele, Josh Pele, and myself, Mario Heron, on the Bolt City Podcast. Make sure to like, share, and subscribe wherever you get your podcast.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to another edition of the Bolt City Podcast, courtesy of Odyssey. Dave Pele, Josh Pele, and Mario Heron. As we get ready for the big game on Sunday, Chargers travel to Atlanta to take on the 4-4 Falcons. Chargers coming off a bye week. Guys, when your team doesn't play and that bye week happens, it feels like forever until your team plays again. Very excited that we finally have another game on Sunday. The interesting thing is this Atlanta Falcon team that's 4-4, and believe it or not, in that division, in the NFC South, that's good enough for first place. And all I keep thinking in my mind is this is the game where I guaranteed a win before we even started playing a game. I said, looking at the schedule, this is the win the Chargers are going to have. And then Mario says, I'm picking Atlanta. He goes, I like Atlanta before the season starts. And I said, I will walk from Atlanta all the way back to Los Angeles if the Chargers drop this game. I would have never have thought that one of these two teams would be in first place and it wouldn't be the Chargers. And here we are, guys, 4-4 the Falcons. How comfortable are you feeling about Sunday?
Surprisingly, I actually feel pretty good about this game for the reason that the Chargers actually match up with the Falcons pretty well. In my opinion, I think the Chargers do great against the tight end. Obviously, they have Kyle Pitts, but they really have no receivers that have showed out the last month. Even though they've been winning games, Drake London, their number one receiver, hasn't had more than 4 catches or 40 yards all the way since September. Their number one running back, Cordell Patterson, is unlikely to play this Sunday. Even if he does, he hasn't played in 4 weeks. He was on the IR. So I think the Chargers actually match up with the Falcons really well. And they don't have a quarterback that has that strong arm that can throw it down the field either. So I think the Chargers actually are in a good position.
I'm feeling a mix of emotions. At some points I feel very confident. I'm like, why would it? Like, how would they lose this game? At other points, I'm like, I'm so nervous of Arthur just somehow beating us, or Cordell Patterson comes in and has this crazy game, and so I'm up and down a roller coaster of emotions. I would love to see Dave do like the walk from Atlanta to LA and we get like a Forrest Gump outfit, and we get him like a little track following. We like make up that it's like, he's doing it for an unknown reason, and then he gets there and it's just like, actually I lost the bet, which would be hilarious. Edit that part out so it does happen. But yeah, I'm a little nervous for this game. What I do like is all week, I've been working on other shows, gambling shows, and everyone is big on the Chargers. Everyone spoke highly of the Chargers, and everyone really expects a huge Chargers win. That's giving me confidence. On the other side, you hear like the voice in the back of your head, like don't listen to the public, fade the public and all that stuff. But that does give me a little confidence of, hey, if a lot of people are on the Chargers big this week, that maybe there's something to be said that the Chargers can pull this out.
What amazes me most about this Atlanta team, not only 4-4 is good enough for first place, but Josh, you kind of touched on it. Where are the weapons? I mean, how are they doing it? Marcus Mariota, when the signing happened, that they gave him a 2-year deal, everyone thought it was, okay, it's a stopgap. They're basically gearing up for possibly getting Bryce Young in the draft in 2023. But Mariota, here he is, 8 games started. He's still healthy. One of those things that has bothered him through his career is completing almost 63% of his passes. Again, 10 touchdowns, 6 interceptions. He's able to run the ball as well. Cordell Patterson has only 4 games played this year. And you mentioned Drake London, 8 games played, 30 receptions. Pretty crazy. The one I cannot figure out of everybody on this team who I thought was going to be a huge star that is averaging basically 2.5 catches a game is Kyle Pitts. I thought Kyle Pitts was supposed to be the next great tight end. So when you look at all the weapons that they kind of don't have and the fact they're in first place, you wonder how they're doing it. Is it just smoke and mirrors? Have they just been extremely lucky? How have the Falcons been able to pull this 4-4 record off?
I think the Falcons actually have one of the best coaches in the NFL, Arthur Smith. They said when Coach Vrabel was over I called him Coach Vrabel like he's my coach. When Mike Vrabel was at the Titans, people didn't believe in him his first year, but ever since then, second, third, fourth, fifth year, he became one of the best coaches in the NFL. I think Arthur Smith is similar. He coached under Mike Vrabel. He's in his second year. It seems like the team's really bought in. But you said it right there. They really don't have, the weapons that you're scared of on this team. Drake London had a great first 2 games, and then he completely fell off, and he's still the leading receiver. So then you wonder who's going to hurt you in the running game. Tyler Algier, who's a 5th-round pick, is a rookie running back. Caleb Huntley, a 2nd-round running back. Those guys don't scare you. And then you think Kyle Pitts, like you said, the number 1 tight end coming out of the draft, the best one we've seen maybe ever, and they don't know how to utilize him. Last week was his best game. But still, we have Derwin James. If he can shut down Travis Kelce, I feel pretty good about him going against Kyle Pitts.
Yeah, I agree. I think their weapons just don't really match up to ours in the sense of I don't think they really know how to use them. I don't think they really know how to use London. I don't think they really know how to use Pitts. And I think it definitely shows also that they don't really have a lot of confidence in Marcus at all. So I think in order to win this game, you have to put pressure on Marcus to be a dominant QB. You have to put pressure on him to win the game for him. But all the credit's Arthur Smith, man. He's really gotten this team to a whole nother level of playing that I never thought they would be at. They got of old man Matt Ryan last year, and it just looks like a kind of completely different team. Their division is awful. Some of the wins are a little shaky. I mean, they barely beat the Panthers, and they got lucky off that stupid penalty in the end and beat them in OT. But some of these other wins are pretty big. I mean, they beat the Niners 28-14. They got was it that the game Jimmy G was screaming at Kyle Shanahan, "Your plays suck"? Or was that the team? That might have been that team. I'd have to double check, but that's an impressive win. The Seahawks are a pretty good team, and they beat them 27-23. So they're a weird team. It's a weird team to play against.
Wasn't it Kyler Murray that dropped that line? I thought it was Kyler Murray that dropped your plays suck. But here's the deal: They both did. They both did. And that's great if you're the coach too. Nothing better than that. It's so easy to read certain lips, right? I mean, there's certain words you say, you go, man, I know exactly what that guy just said. Arthur Smith, we touched on him during the rundown of the schedule. I think in our very first show when we were going through different teams and what they have and what we were worried about. Arthur Smith, I think, was a great hire. I mean, Arthur Blank has been trying to find the right guy for the longest time. I follow a lot of Tennessee Titan football, and I've watched that Titan team that never seemed to have anything but a running game. And he was very good, and you're going, man, this guy has an extreme passion for this sport. There's certain guys where it's in their family, like Sean McVay. His grandfather ran the 49ers. It was in his blood. He loved football, the whole deal. And Sean McVay's grandfather just passed away yesterday as we do this show. But he got him into loving the game. Arthur Smith's dad, for people who don't know, his family owns FedEx. His dad's the one that is the guy who owns FedEx. And so, we joke around. There's a billionaire coach that might have more money than the owner, but this was his passion. His passion wasn't business. So this is his way of sitting there. He designs plays. I'm always amazed by guys like him, Kyle Shanahan, another guy, of course, who was in the family. Guys who design plays that you haven't seen before. Andy Reid, as old as Andy Reid is, Andy Reid will still pull plays that I've never seen before. And as much football as all three of us watch, it always makes me take a step back going, man, that's impressive. You know, how many different options can he possibly come up with? Arthur Smith is really one of those guys that should be up for Coach of the Year. We talk about Pete Carroll all the time and what he's doing in Seattle, but what Arthur Smith is doing right now with this Falcons team is completely amazing.
Is there anybody on the team that really scares you? I know Marcus Mariota is kind of like the Geno. Marcus Mariota is kind of like the Geno Smith thing. You thought he's going to be a great player coming out of college, didn't live up to the hype. Now he's kind of having a comeback season. But even Marcus Mariota doesn't scare me. Mario put some numbers together. The Falcons are 25th in yards per game, 29th in passing yards, yet they're 6th in points per game. That doesn't really make any sense at all. I can't put together what the Falcons are doing. Is it because they're in a terrible division or because they have a great coach? Is it both? I don't know, man. This is a really interesting matchup for the Chargers. It's kind of like the Dolphins. You don't want to play them. You don't really know how good they are, but I guess we find out on Sunday.
With the Dolphins, they have weapons, though, right, guys?
Yeah.
In a good true. QB.
Yeah.
I mean, Mariota, if I'm not mistaken, Mariota and Arthur Smith knew each other well from the time with the Titans.
Correct.
Right? But as much as we've rip guys like Ryan Tannehill, we said just on the last show, he's not a guy that you think will take a team to a Super Bowl. Tannehill took Mariota's spot.
Yeah, you're correct. Yeah, well, let me ask you this. I know they're not as good as the Dolphins, but it's kind of like when we play the Seahawks. Like, who jumps out to you besides DK? And even DK and Tyler Lockett are much better than anybody the Falcons have.
You're right.
But they're making the most out of what they have in Seattle. Atlanta's doing the same thing. Do you really want to play a team where you don't know who's going to beat you?
No. And this Falcons team, they're gonna get up for it though. That's my thing is they're gonna get up for this game because they know Chargers are obviously a more talented team. They know Chargers are gonna be favored. They're gonna get up for it and they're gonna play and they're gonna be ready to play. The how they are 6th in points per game actually blows my mind because it makes no sense when you look at any other stats. I mean, they're 16th in point differential, 25th in yards per game, 29th in passing yards. They're 5th in rushing. That doesn't get you 25 points a game in the NFL anymore. That gets you 15 maybe. So they're a confusing team. They don't make any sense to me. When it comes to anything that I'm scared of, nothing at all. I think we could literally put our 4th string corner on Drake London and Marcus would still not look at him. Their pass defense is the greatest thing that we could ever be given in NFL Week 9 because it is so brutally bad. It's the worst defense in the league against the pass. This could be a confidence game for Justin Herbert. This could be getting the confidence back, getting the rhythm back. Now, his best 2 friends aren't out there. One for a reason I would say it's maybe a little bit soft, but I don't know who said that. I didn't, but this could be a very big confident game for Herbert. This could be a good bounce back game. Get in a rhythm during this game because you got to look at that defense and go, we have a giant weak spot in their secondary, and that is our strong suit. We got to exploit that.
Okay, so if you're the Chargers, what are you worried about let's say you're the defense and your game plan. What are you game planning for? So many other teams, we can sit there and say what you're game planning for. We don't need to be in the practice facility. If you're the Chargers, you've had 2 weeks. What are you game planning for to stop? What are you concerned about stopping? You just mentioned they can put points on the scoreboard. What are you trying to stop?
Well, I think you have to stop Kyle Pitts just because he's the best physical specimen on the team, but they run the ball down your throat. I think they're a top 5 running team in the league. Mario, I'm not good at math. I don't think anybody in here is really good at math. Okay. Their leading receiver has 2 touchdowns. Their leading running back has 3 touchdowns. Marcus Mariota has 10 touchdowns, but they're 6th in points. How the hell does that happen? Is Younghoe Koo having the greatest year a kicker's ever had? I don't get that at all. I think if you game plan for this team, you got to game plan with the best player, which is still Kyle Pitts. But this is scary if you're a defensive coordinator because they can beat you with a bunch of different guys that aren't that good, it seems like.
I would say you just got to pack the box. I'd pack the living crap box. Throw every blitz you can at them and just do whatever you can to stop the run. And honestly say, let's see how talented Drake London is. Let's take away Pitts and let's force Marcus Mariota to be an actual QB and actually not have to rely on his legs and have to throw the ball literally 40+ times. That'd be my goal, is to literally make him throw the ball so many times he has to bring an ice pack on his arm after the game, which I'd probably be honestly 25 attempts with how much he doesn't throw the football. So I think that'd be the goal. Pack the box, force him to throw. And, our corners have, they throw down Asante Samuel's side. He's not going to catch it, but he's going to bat it down.
All right. To me, Marcus Mariota is a half version of what Justin Herbert is. I mean, you know what I'm saying? He's not going to throw the ball deep. Justin Herbert can throw the ball deep. We just haven't seen it in weeks. But he's not going to stretch the defense. You know, kind of like what you said, Mario, as far as packing the box and stopping the run and kind of keep him in the pocket. He can do damage with his legs. He's still good enough to do damage with his legs that you're making sure he's not getting out. I don't want to say you would go about it the same way you would if you're going against a Lamar Jackson guy where you're worried about him taking off and being extremely fast. He's not that guy, but he is very capable of running the ball. It's really mind-blowing to see what the Falcons have done so far, and that's why I'm kind of curious to know if almost anything can happen on Sunday with them. That being said, I think the Chargers have a lot to prove. I mean, it's been a long time since they stepped on that football field. You have to be disappointed in your very last game that you played, and then here you are, you're getting ready. Hopefully you feel a little bit better, a little bit healthy. You've been away from the facility for a little bit. The team has let you know we did not make any trades. You know, this is it. This is the group of guys that's going to make the run. And if I was in that locker room, I think I'd have a little bit of faith going. They have enough faith in us that we're good enough to get the job done. So this is it. Our best effort comes on Sunday against Atlanta. There's no excuses on why we possibly don't come out and play Charger football to the best of our ability.
You talked about who you prepare for on the Falcons. For the Chargers, A.J. Terrell is questionable in this game. He's their top corner. I believe he's their top corner. And we have Josh Palmer as our top receiver. So this is really interesting to me. How we go about this, like I'm actually calling the plays, but how the Chargers go about this. The Falcons defense isn't very good. They're 31st in yards allowed, 29th in points. I'll ask you, Mario, if you were calling the plays for the Chargers, which I know you've wanted to do the whole season, how would you go about this game?
Well, first off, I would honestly tell Herbert and I would tell Eckler, like, get the ice packs ready, get the cold baths ready, because you're going to have to use Eckler as much as you can. I mean, we've been doing it the past 3 games. Against the Browns, 16 rush attempts, 173 yards, 4 catches. Broncos, 14 carries, 10 receptions. Seahawks, 9 carries, 12 receptions. I mean, we've been using him until his body falls apart, and we're going to have to do that again because we don't have any receivers. But it's also going to be to the fact that you're going to have a big day. So if I'm calling the plays, the Falcons are pretty good against the run, 11 against the run in the league. So they're going to be pretty good at stopping the run, and we don't run the ball very well. So get ready for some play action. Get ready for little dump downs at Eckler because that's just what you're going to have to do. And then I'm going to tell Joshua Palmer, I'm going to treat you like Keenan Allen today. You better play like you're Keenan Allen today. You were the stud that everyone's supposed to watch out for in the preseason. Now it's time to show it. I would literally go into the attempt of, I'm going to act like you are Keenan Allen, you're our number 1 receiver, and you're going to get the ball like you are the number 1 receiver. And then DeAndre Carter, get ready to go deep, run deep, sprint deep, because I'm throwing you downfield as much as I can. And then you can get a little oxygen tank after it and then refuel up and go do it again. That's exactly what I would do nonstop because this Falcons secondary is piss poor.
You know, I agree with what Mario says. I mean, Joshua Palmer, look, every guy that comes into the league believes that they are a star wide receiver, especially receivers and cornerbacks. We talk about their egos all the time. This is his dream scenario. I mean, it might not be for Charger fans, their dream scenario, but for Joshua Palmer, 100%. This is his dream game. I'm going into this game as an NFL number 1 receiver. I mean, this is what he's been waiting for his entire life, right? Guy went to the University of Tennessee, all right? Tennessee is not far from Georgia, all right? One of those who you say family and friends, guess what? I'm going to put on a show. This is the game I'm getting tickets for. Everyone come watch me play. I'm going to put on my best show in the NFL since I've been in the league on Sunday against the Atlanta Falcons. The Chargers have to be thinking, too, he's our best receiver. If we're going to have any kind of passing game at all outside of Austin Eckler, he's going to be our guy. We're going to use him more than we're going to use the tight end. He's the guy that's going to be the guy that we expect to get at least 10 catches. I know that's a huge number, but think about it. What else do they have? I mean, they're so depleted at the wide receiver position. This is the Joshua Palmer game. And you know what? If he doesn't do well, if he S's the bet on Sunday, we're going to know a lot about Joshua Palmer. And is Joshua Palmer an NFL guy you can count on for the future? And if he steps up and plays great, what does that mean for this team and how much better are they once Keenan Allen and Mike Williams are ready to go full time?
Yeah, dream scenario for Josh Palmer. His teammates or his old teammates are going to be in Athens the day before. They're going to drive over to Atlanta. They're going to watch him ball out. I picked him up on my fantasy team because I believe in what I say. Couldn't agree with Mario enough on the game plan with DeAndre Carter going deep. Josh Palmer has to be that guy if we win. Has to be. I think I saw that Austin Eckler was 5th in catches in the NFL. Absolutely unreal. Joshua Palmer has to have at least like 12 targets in this game for them to have a chance. I was also thinking about Marcus Mariota versus Justin Herbert. People in California and Georgia and Eugene, Oregon are going to be watching this game on Sunday because it's finally they get to see Justin Herbert versus Marcus Mariota, which is really cool for all those guys. All right, so my players to watch. I'll start with you, Dave. Me or Mario usually go first. Who are your players to watch in this game?
Austin Eckler is my guy. Okay, Austin Eckler is my guy on offense, and since I get to go first, I'm going Derwin James on defense.
Okay. What about you, Mario?
My guy will be DeAndre Carter. You got a lot of targets last week, a little too many targets. Some would say that we don't have reports versus Mike Williams. This is your game to be a real threat for the deep ball and to really expose that secondary. I need you to have a really big game for that. And then Drew Tranquil is my guy for that linebacker position for the sole reason of when Mariota goes back to pass and he realizes that I don't want to throw the ball at all, where's our spy? And I think that's going to be Tranquil, and I'm going to rely on him to get Marcus down on the ground and really stop anything explosive from happening on that offense.
Okay, I agree. I think Drew Tranquil is going to have a big game. He kind of took my guy there. It's okay. I'll go offensively. I'm going to go Josh Palmer, like for all the reasons I said. 12 targets, I think, in this game is my call. Hopefully he has a touchdown or two. If we want to win this game, I think he needs at least one touchdown. Defensively, Asante Samuel Jr., he's going to be on Drake London most likely. I need him to get a pick this week, maybe get some of that sticky stuff on his hands to get a pick. And I'm going to go game prediction. I'll go Chargers win. I think Chargers could be a really close game all the way through. I'll go Chargers 27-24 over the Falcons. What about you, Dave?
That's a good pick. That's a good number right there. I tell you what, I'm going to go man, I like yours. I like 24-21 Chargers.
All right, 24-21. Well, I said it for the year. I have to stick by it, man. I can't go away from it. So I'm gonna go. I can't. It'd be such a coward move. I'm gonna go 28-27 Falcons. Hopkins, I believe, is injured, and then our second string kicker got hurt, and they just had to elevate a guy from the practice squad. There's probably gonna be a stupid missed extra point or something. That's just gonna make me want to kick myself in the nuts. So I think that's going to happen. So that's going to be my pick, 28-27.
All right. You can go AFC West picks. Is that who you're going through right now?
Hold on a second. All right. What? So here's the deal. Mario went crazy earlier, and he said he was going to punch himself in the face if Keenan Allen didn't play. Are you punching yourself in the face if Keenan Allen doesn't play?
Yeah, I'm a man of my word. Like, I'll do it, but I'm not going to do it in this pod. I'll do it on Sunday until it's very
you can't do it on this one. Can you imagine if you punch yourself in the face right now and he did play?
He's not playing. He's not playing, buddy. I hope you know that.
He's not. He probably won't play.
Oh, my God. And this is one of those things that has started to gain steam already, Mario. People are already talking about it in Southern California. That there's a guy on the Bolt City podcast that's just going to punch himself right in the face. They want to see it. So, unfortunately, that's how sick people are. But they actually literally want to see you punch yourself right in the face.
And like the sad part about it, like the more people that want it, like I was literally going to plan doing like the Coach O, just like the little like tap, and then just try to like sell it. But then after this now, I was like, I'm going to have to give myself a good pop. I'm going to have to like, give a good little like ring to it. So that'll be fun.
Dude, it was really funny a couple days ago because I'm thinking it's not going to happen. But now as we get closer to Sunday, man, I'm really kind of nervous about you punching yourself in the face.
That press conference, he looked defeated. He looked like he was going to play the rest of the year. I was like, oh, my God, man. Let's know what's on the line.
Oh, my gosh. You know what's on the line? Your face, you mean, or the game?
And dignity.
I'm with Mario. Dignity.
Yeah, dignity.
Yeah.
Oh, my gosh. You guys brought it up at last show. You said Brian Robinson came back quicker than Keenan Allen. It's insane.
He got shot. You see, Michael Thomas today said he's out for the rest of the year, or they said he's not going to play. Holy hell! Hell,
let me ask you about that real quick. All right, before we pick these games, Michael Thomas, you knew things were going bad with the Saints when Drew Brees opened his mouth a couple years ago, right? Michael Thomas got super upset. Mm-hmm. And it was funny. I told a friend of mine who's a big Charger fan. He's a season ticket holder, and we started talking about it. And I said, this is going to affect Michael Thomas. Watch. Oh, you're crazy. Well, Drew Brees retires, and it still seems like it's affecting Michael Thomas. I mean, it's really something else. And maybe down the line you realize that maybe the Hall of Fame is not for everybody, but Michael Thomas was at the time the guy that was leading the NFL in all these receptions. Like he had Cooper Kupp years like Cooper Kupp had last year before, He's one of the best in the NFL, if not the best at one time. And then you're going, dude, age, it doesn't last forever. I mean, there's only so long you're in your prime. I mean, is Michael Thomas an NFL player anymore? Kind of weird that the Saints are in that situation where, hey, our best asset, as great as Olave has been, is that Michael Thomas is ready to say, hey, I'm not playing anymore for you guys.
You think that's what it is? He just doesn't want to be a Saint anymore?
I don't think he wants to be a Saint. I don't think he's almost lost the fire to be an NFL player. I mean, so if you're the Saints, you're going to want to deal him during the offseason. If you're a team, let's say even like the Chargers, that can always use wide receiver help, would you trade for Michael Thomas? And what would you give up for him?
I wouldn't give up much, but he's from LA, so that's something. He probably wants to go back to California. But if a guy doesn't want to play, man, then why would I want him on my team? We already have enough guys that seem like they don't want to be there.
Yeah. That'd be my thing. Is he doesn't really seem like he wants to play. And what's crazy is before that, he used to be one of the most durable players in the NFL, and he had that streak, I think, of never dropping a ball. And I mean, if we know Chargers say we have terrible injury luck, the Saints arguably on their offense have the best weapons in the NFL. You could make an argument with Taysom Hill, Chris Olave, Jarvis Landry, Michael Thomas. And I legitimately do not think they've all played in a game together, which is crazy sad. It's one of the most depressing things I've ever heard. It's got to be a tough one for New Orleans.
Yeah, it's very, very, very strange. Speaking of guys that could be changing teams, and we'll pick games in just 1 second, but this is gaining a lot of steam right here on the West Coast, is that Derek Carr's career is coming to an end as a Raider. That the Raiders have to make a decision on Carr almost immediately after the Super Bowl, because his extension kicks in, and for the Raiders, if they cut Derek Carr, it can save $110 million. Otherwise, they're locked into him. So a lot of talk that the Raiders could be looking for a new quarterback, and we kind of brought it up on last show, saying, if you were the Raiders, would you try and make a trade to bring Aaron Rodgers over? Is there somebody else that you could bring in? Because the Raiders are, with the brand new stadium and the Super Bowl coming to Las Vegas and all the talk about the excitement of Las Vegas Raider football, that you have to be competitive very soon. You can't sit there and finish where you've been finishing the last couple of years of barely making it in the playoffs or not making the playoffs.
Yeah, I don't know. Do you go Aaron Rodgers or do you go to the draft? They say this is the biggest quarterback draft they've had in years. So I don't know. It's a tough decision. The defense still sucks. Like I said last show, the defense sucks.
It's not the quarterback. This is where the average fan always blames the quarterback. Yeah. But again, Derek Carr has not had a great year. I mean, look at Devontae Adams' stats. They're terrible. Everyone's stats are terrible over there.
Yeah, shocker. Fresno State didn't translate to the
NFL. You can see that one coming.
Yeah, Jesus.
You can see that one coming. I would call Lamar Jackson. I remember there's a show I work on for Sundays, and there's a guy in the Baltimore area, and he told me multiple times this year he's as good as gone. So if that rings true come the end of the year, the Raiders could be on that sweepstakes. And I don't know who you're going to compete with in that as well. I mean,
remember they can franchise tag him. The thing is, do you want to keep a disgruntled quarterback there?
Yeah.
I mean, do the Ravens go, you know what? It's never going to work out. I mean, he can always say the right things, Lamar Jackson. Hey, as soon as this thing runs out, I'm gone. You might as well trade me now and get what you can for me. Otherwise, you're going to get anything.
Yeah.
Hey, put Lamar Jackson on the Raiders, and damn, with Darren Waller and Devontae, I think that's
all of a sudden the AFC West. Also, all of a sudden the AFC West is how much more exciting is that? Just when we thought it couldn't get any better, the AFC West gets even more exciting.
I could see him on the Raiders, man. He kind of looks like a Raider, has that attitude.
It'd be pretty filthy. It'd be, as much as we hate the Raiders, that'd be kind of cool. Him and
how Las Vegas is that?
Sick.
Right? I mean, how Showtime Las Vegas is that to have bring Lamar Jackson would be something else. All right, let's fire through these games. I'm sorry. Are we picking the AFC West with the spread? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah.
Do you have the spreads? You have it ready?
Yeah, I got the spread.
Mario always has the spreads ready to go.
Yeah.
You got one of those. You have one of those tickers, don't you, Mario? Right there in your office.
Yeah. I just call the bookie Vinny. On South Street. No. All
right, Mark. What do you got?
So we got the Las Vegas Raiders. They travel to Jacksonville. They are minus 1.5 point favorite against the Jags. Over under is 48. So what do we think here, guys? Because this is a battle of mid. If we were being honest, this is a battle of two very average teams that at one point people thought very high of, and then they're come back down to not even earth. They're coming back down to hell. So what are we sitting kind of in this game?
I tell you what, I like the Raiders in this game. I think Jacksonville right now is kind of lost. I think the Raiders should be on an upswing. I don't know. I mean, the Raiders didn't play well last week. They scored as many points as the Chargers scored. So I think the Raiders bounce back, though. I like the Raiders in this one.
I like. I
would take the under, though. I would take the under.
100% taking the under for sure.
Yeah, I kind of agree. Trevor Lawrence has been making like really stupid mistakes at QB. That just doesn't really make sense. Like when you're supposed to overthrow, he underthrows, and when you're supposed to underthrow, he overthrows. It's like, come on, buddy. I really like the Raiders in that one, but I've bet on them 3 times this year, and they give me a loss every single time. So thanks, Vegas. This is a huge spread that is so interesting to me. Chiefs minus 12.5 against the Tennessee Titans. Over unders 45.5. Vrabel is getting a lot of points against them, against Kansas City.
Go ahead, Josh.
The spread's 12.5?
12.5.
I've never heard of that in the NFL.
Yeah. Well,
Tennessee's a first-place team. Tennessee beat them last year.
But the thing about this, too, though, is so we all year, we compare the Chiefs and the Bills, right? Well, remember, the Bills smoked the Titans. So I'm guessing is that when they go into this game, they look at the Titans wins, and then they look at that Bills loss to go, this is how we're going to determine this point average. This point spread.
This is why I don't take the Chiefs spread in this game. Like we said, the Titans shorten games. So if they're ahead, they're just going to run the hell out of the ball. Next thing you know, the game's over. That 12.5 disappears. I think the Titans cover. I'm not saying the Titans win, but I don't think the Chiefs are going to win by 12.5.
This is one of those games to me where they're just daring you to take the Titans. You know what I mean? It's one of those where Vegas always knows more than you. Like we look at this and go, this doesn't make any sense at all. Even if the spread was 7.5, I'd go, this spread's too big. It doesn't make any sense. Tennessee, just for all the reasons Josh just said, it makes sense to take the Titans. But this is one of those where Vegas is daring you to take the Titans because they know the Chiefs are going to cover. It just, that's a crazy spread. I've watched these spreads, man, my entire life, and I can usually get within a half a point of what Vegas is going to say. Man, I'm off by 5 points on this one easily. I'm going to go Chiefs. Vegas knows something we don't know.
Yeah.
I would stay away from this game, by the way. There's no way in hell would I bet this game.
No, I agree. This is a teaser game for me. I would tease this down to 6.5, and then I would smack it because I think the Titans are getting like an early lead and try to run out the clock, and then Mahomes is gonna have a killer like touchdown pass. I don't know, Juju, and then he's TikTok dancing in the end zone. I think that's honestly what will happen. But Vrabel, 12.5 points is a lot against Mike Vrabel. That's a lot. That is a lot. Another reason why you should come to LA. But yeah, I agree. Chiefs would be a teaser game for me. Big tease. And then do you guys want to go through the rest of the
let's go through the rest of it.
Okay.
I won last
Dave,
week, by the way.
First.
I won last week. Go ahead. You want to fire through the games?
I
I got to. It doesn't happen very often. You kidding me? Why do you think I brought it up? You got the games in front of you? You want to fire right through? Just ask me.
Yeah, Josh, can you so I can write down?
Yeah, I got it. All right, so tonight's matchup is Eagles at Houston.
Oh, the easiest game of the week, Eagles.
Chargers at Atlanta.
By the way, Brandon Cooks isn't even playing.
I know, crazy. Chargers at Atlanta.
Jeff Bezos is just kicking invisible cups down the street right now. He's so pissed off. I'm sorry. What's the next one? I'm sorry.
Chargers at Atlanta.
I'm going Chargers.
Miami at Chicago.
Miami.
Carolina at Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Green Bay at Detroit.
That's a tough one. I'm going Green Bay. There's no way Green Bay continues to lose.
Indy at New England.
New England.
Buffalo at the Jets.
Buffalo.
Minnesota at Washington.
Minnesota.
Vegas at Jacksonville.
I'm going with the Raiders.
Seattle at Arizona.
I'm going to go Seattle. Can you believe that? First time all year, I think I picked Seattle.
Rams at Tampa.
This is a weird game, right? The two most underachieving teams in the NFL right now. I mean, how disappointing. Then Sean McVay comes out today and says that he's going to retire. Did you see that?
Yeah.
Sean McVay said when the star players are gone, he goes, I'm gone. Yeah, Aaron Donald's gone. Matthew Stafford's gone. Now, it's funny because Cooper Kupp's still young. You're like, okay, what does that mean? But, Sean McVay, as young as he is, saying I'm going to get out of this, seems kind of strange.
It is weird.
You
picked who?
I'm going Rams. I don't think Tom Brady and the Buccaneers have any idea what they're doing either. Could this game end in a 0-0 tie? Could this be the overtime game that Mario chooses every week? That's, this is a disappointing game. Yeah. I'll go Rams. I'll go Rams.
Okay. Sunday Night Football is Titans at Chiefs. You already said the Chiefs.
Chiefs.
Then Monday Night Football, you got the Ravens at the Saints.
Ravens in that one. Not sold on the Saints.
All right, Mario, you want to go through? I'll read these to you real quick.
Yeah, here we go.
Okay. Philly at Houston.
Philly.
Chargers at Atlanta.
Atlanta.
Miami at Chicago.
Okay, this is worrisome to me because it's supposed to be a really crappy day in Chicago.
I was going to ask you how cold
Chicago. Yeah, it's going to get Chicago weather. I think it's going to be cold and rainy. So that really, really worries me. But Chicago has 2 rookies in the secondary, so I'm going to go Miami.
Okay, Carolina at Cincinnati.
Cincy.
Green Bay at Detroit.
I really hate Aaron so much. It's still Green Bay. But screw Aaron Rodgers.
Indy at New England.
New England.
Buffalo at the Jets.
Buffalo.
Minnesota at Washington.
Oh, I think it's so much fun to see Kirk Cousins lose. I'm gonna go upset. I'm gonna go upset. This would be the funniest Kirk Cousins blowout game ever. So I'm gonna go Washington.
Vegas at Jacksonville.
Vegas.
Seattle at Arizona.
Arizona.
Rams at Tampa.
Tampa, Dave.
Tennessee at Kansas City.
Tampa's never. By the way, Tom Brady has never beaten the Rams. Not while he's been a Buccaneer.
So spin zone back at you. You ready for this one?
Okay, go ahead.
So the Rams have never beaten a top 5 team in sacks this year. Cowboys, and then they got killed by the Niners twice. The Bucks are, I believe, 4th in sacks in the NFL. So that's
a good stat.
team.
I like that. So you have the Chiefs beating the Titans?
Yes.
Okay, then Monday Night Football, Ravens at the Saints.
I think it'd be such a game. Baltimore would lose with no Bateman. But Saints injury report's long. I'm going to go Baltimore.
Okay. I'm going to read you my picks real quick so you can just write them down.
Gotcha.
All right. I got the Philly. I got Philly. I was about to say Phillies. I have the Eagles. I have the Chargers. I have the Dolphins. I have the Bengals. I have the Packers. I have the Patriots. I have the Bills. I have the Vikings, the Jaguars, Cardinals, Buccaneers, Chiefs, and Saints. I think the Saints beat the Ravens on Monday Night Football.
Wow, Josh and I have 5 different games, by the way. That's a lot. That's
interesting.
I kind of agree with the Monday night thing. Like I could really see the Saints winning that one.
Yeah. I know, right? Kamara's on fire, by the way.
Yeah. Yeah.
Here's an interesting thing for you, too. You know, we talked about Kirk Cousins going back to Washington, D.C. If Washington was in the same division with the Falcons, they'd be tied for first place. I mean, that's a crazy division right now, the NFC East. There's not a team in that division that has a losing record. 7-0, 6-2, 6-2, and 4-4. Kind of wild. I mean, for a division, I don't think that. Right? Didn't we think that was more what the AFC West was going to be? I mean, you know what I mean? All teams with winning records, or without a losing record, I should say.
Pretty nuts, man.
It's insane.
It's what we watch every single Sunday. I mean, dude, it's so great. It really is pretty amazing to see how exciting it is over and over again, trying to figure out the way things are. And then the NFL switches around. You know, it's so easy to go from bad to good in just a couple of years. If you have the right GM, things turn around really fast for you. But kind of interesting. By the way, here's something that I've heard this week as well. You know, Dak Prescott has cost the Cowboys $50 million against the cap. They wanted to acquire Brandon Cooks, and they couldn't do it. They have no wiggle room at all because of Dak Prescott's contract. And Dak Prescott is not what you'd consider a top 10 quarterback. Russell Wilson, in a few years, will count $55 million against the cap for the Denver Broncos for 5 straight years. And the Broncos are in a lot of trouble. I mean, it might be the biggest mistake in NFL history. Making a trade for Russell Wilson.
I love that's just payback for the Ed Hockley game where he screwed us from the playoffs back 12 years ago. Yeah, I love
beautiful.
It. It's beautiful.
Yeah, and the NFL blew it on that one. I thought what the punishment should have been for Ed Hockley was you have to wear the long sleeves the rest of the season because Ed Hockley knows everyone talks about his guns, right?
Yeah, have you seen his son? His son does the same thing now.
Yeah. Hey, here's the punishment: you can't show your biceps for an entire year. We'll see you next year. You got to wear long sleeves.
He retired. Yeah,
that's it. That's he did. He screwed the Chargers over. By the way, Bradley Chubb signed a huge contract with the Dolphins already. It took 24 hours. You know, the Broncos couldn't get anything done. It took 24 hours for him to sign a deal for like $136 million.
Yeah, he took him down to the club on South Beach and said, "You like it here?" Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. They're like, shoot, who was the basketball player that
James
got
Harden.
caught? Yeah, yeah. They're like, yeah, took him where Harden went. And they're like, yeah, this is pretty nice. Victor Oladipo's in the corner.
You talking about the bubble?
Yeah, the bubble.
Who
was
Lou
that?
Williams.
Lou Williams, yeah.
Yes,
yeah,
Lou
with the
Williams.
wings. Yeah.
Hilarious. Yeah.
Good wings.
There you go. All right, so we're going to be back. Go ahead. You got something to say, Mario?
One last Charger stat for fans out there. This is not the best stat, but I found this today. I thought I'm going to have to mention it. Chargers are 1-8 in November over the last 3 years.
All right, well, we're due. That's the way I look
gotta
at
be
it.
Dave,
Yeah.
I like that. You gotta be due. You gotta be due. You gotta be due.
What's the overtime game of the week?
Okay. Oh yeah. So overtime game of the week. Okay. So there's a lot of this. Literally took 3 hours of thinking. I'm not even kidding you. Literally went, got a coffee, sat down, and I was like, I gotta figure this out. So like, there's a lot of weird writing on my notepad, literally just from trying to figure out OT things. So, like I said, always look towards the conference matchups. So I looked towards Green Bay and Detroit. Aaron Rodgers would never allow an OT game. Then I was like, rivals, Colts, Patriots. Bill Belichick is simply going to make them embarrassing. So I don't think it's going to be that. Bills, Jets is like, Bills are going to roll them. And then I was like, Jags versus Raiders is going to be so unbelievably ugly and weird. That's the overtime bet.
I love that.
Jags versus Raiders. Lock it in. There it is. See you at the cashier. You're welcome for the free money.
That's good. All right, we'll be on right after the Chargers take down the Falcons, I hope. And then we'll see you on Sunday, everybody. But again, we'll be talking about the Chargers game against the Falcons and have a lot to go over and a lot to pay off, I think, on Sunday, right? Either I'm walking from Atlanta back to Los Angeles. Mario could be punching himself right in the face. And Josh, you got nothing at risk. You're okay.
I'll be the guy from World Star holding my phone recording.
There you go. All right. Again, for Josh Palais, Mario Heron, I'm Dave Palais. Again, thank you for listening to the Bolt City podcast, courtesy of Odyssey. We'll see you on Sunday.